Good evening, all you Minties, and welcome back to another episode of Reelz Talk with the amazing Amanda and my lovely co-host, Uncanny Omar. How is everyone doing today? I'm sure everyone is super excited to talk about Wandavision, and we have a ton of people already in the chat. Reaper is not on right now, but he wanted to say hi from Australia and to make sure we all watch the Phillip Island Penguin Parade. Well, Reaper XC, I'm not sure where that's playing, but if I can find it, I will definitely watch it for you. I never heard that before. How is everyone doing? Hey, Joe, how's it going?
Yes, welcome to our weekly conversation breakdown and then talk about Easter eggs later on of WandaVision. This is a pretty exciting episode because there are a lot of things that happened here that we kind of, all of us, not just Amanda and I, but all of us have been talking about, especially when we, after Amanda's synopsis, when we start talking about theories, like a lot of it. Of course, when you have a group of so many people and they're all throwing theories, I'm sure one of them is going to stick. At least one of them.
Sure, one.
Right?
I mean, they're based off comic books that have been around for how many years, Omar? Like at least one theory.
At least more than 5 years. That's for sure. But I think the one that has been going around for a long time, of course, has been sum up this meme right here.
Yes.
Like, I have a feeling that this meme is going to change, though, and we'll talk about that after Amanda gives a synopsis as to what it's going to change to. But seriously, ever since episode 2 with the devil's in the details or whatever that line was, and everybody, even people that don't read comic books, went to look up on Wikipedia, the dog's Mephisto, the butterfly's Mephisto.
The stork was Mephisto.
Pietro's Mephisto.
Pietro's Mephisto, obviously.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a lot of fun. I mean, that's what makes the show
because how we supposed to? We don't know. I was wrong about a lot of stuff. Nocturne, listening to y'all's podcast has their own Best Buy. Wow, awesome! I hope everything's going well at Best Buy. Good luck on getting a new headset for your mic for your new job. That's awesome.
Congratulations on the new job.
Yes.
So 2 things really quick, Amanda, and then we can get started. Number 1, thank you to Ibsy for sending me a couple of memes that was one of them. And then another one I'll be using a little bit later. And the other most important thing, this is our cousin. This is our little cousin, Maya. She's not so little anymore. Today is her 18th birthday. That's crazy. Now she can legally, by the way, I got on Facebook, which I never really do, to wish her a happy birthday. 18 is a big deal. And then I saw some of my friends wishing her a happy birthday. And I'm like, how does Maya know Alice Collins? Maya, how do you know Alice?
Yeah.
Hit me up. Okay? Hit me up, Maya. I ain't seen Alice for a minute. But anyway.
Let them know.
Let's go ahead and get started. So everybody wish Maya a happy birthday.
Yes, before that, Maya, this is for you. She wanted a Sebastian Stan gif with him with short hair. So Maya, that's for you. That's her man.
Okay.
So
I guess I must have deleted that one happy birthday gif I had because it sucked. So sorry, Maya.
Josh wants to know, where's your creepy birthday gift?
That's all. Happy birthday, baby. So
but here you go, Maya. That's
there you go.
Don't worry. In a few weeks, you'll be getting a lot of these gifts when we move on to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier recap.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for those, Sebastian.
Omar's gonna love it because the only thing he's gonna get is Emily Van Camp. That's all he's gonna have to look at.
What's up, Isaiah? And what's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. This is gonna be a lot of fun. And one more time, we like to stress that we're going to be talking about spoilers. So you either have watched the episode or don't care about spoilers. And hold on to your potatoes. Let's go ahead and get started.
Yes, and if you want to come back and watch it later, just hit the like button, come back, and then rewatch it when you're done. So you can catch up on what we were talking about. So to start out, we have WandaVision, breaking the fourth wall. So obviously this is set in it's the sitcom area of the 2000s, which is very mockumentary heavy type sitcoms. We got like The Office, and the main one this one pulls from is Modern Family, complete with the talking heads. So if you guys have ever seen the Modern Family, of course, it is an ABC show. Not surprising that's what they would draw inspiration from, given that Disney owns ABC. But for instance, here's Claire Dunphy talking. Even behind her, the way everything's set up is very much the Modern Family home. Here's Phil Dunphy having his discussion on Modern Family. So as you can see, that's the vibe they're going for, complete with the bongo drums in the opening theme song or throughout the episode when things are happening that kind of go awry, there's little like bongo drum upbeat music behind it. That is very Modern Family-esque. So this is what we're going with. That's the thematics for this episode as far as within Wanda's barrier. So during the opening, we have Wanda laying in bed, kind of having a quarantine style staycation, as she calls it herself. She is pretty much a little, down to the dumps, a little depressed after everything that happened over the Halloween episode that we just saw in the previous week. And the boys are coming in asking her, hey, something's going on with our video game. And their video game consoles keep changing rapidly into different console types, different eras. And then they become Uno cards. And she's like, kids, mommy's resting her eyes, go downstairs, deal with it. I'm going to be in bed for a while. So when she finally does decide to get herself dressed and get herself downstairs, she goes and makes herself some cereal, and she notices the milk starts changing to different carton of milk. So there's a glitch there. And then the boys are asking her about, what their uncle Pietro said about her re-killing their father. And she's like, you know what? Mommy pretends to have the answers, but sometimes she doesn't always have the answers. And so she's dealing with that. So in the meantime, you realize we cut back to the outside of the barrier, and we have Hayward managed to escape the barrier. I guess it stopped right before, so Hayward did not get into it. And it looks like he still has a small, ragtag team of sword agents, and they are getting ready to launch whatever his plan is to infiltrate the barrier. And what we find out is to probably get Vision, because we also find out from Wu and from Monica as they're driving to meet Monica's people who she had been contacting on the outside. Wu had looked at what Darcy had decrypted and found out that Cataract Plan was not just a project to review Vision's body, but to bring him back online, to bring back the sentient weapon, which, of course, we had discussed this in the last episode. That's not surprising, considering that in the beginning of the season, Monica was surprised that they were not just observing sentient AI, but actually building sentient AI. So not really surprising that is the goal for Hayward and for Sword. So in addition to that, we have Vision waking up in the middle of the circus, the sword circus. So he has not returned home, and he meets Darcy, and he recognizes Darcy because at the end of the last episode, him and her apparently locked eyes and they had understanding. He's like, you know me, you saw me. And he makes her remember who she is. But Omar knows there's a line that Omar had wanted her to be one particular thing in the circus, but it was not that.
I wanted her to be Omar. I said I wanted her to be the bearded lady, and isn't that actually having her chained up like that's a lot hotter than
that her bearded lady?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Am I the only one? Or I guess I may be
in that like My Chemical Romance Black Parade outfit she's wearing, but not in black. That's what
I think that's your typical carnival circus costume. Yes. Okay, wait. Hold on really quick, because I did ask Hayden. I thought this was supposed to be an hour long because he told us that, or Hayden, you said these last 3 episodes were supposed to be 3 hours long, right?
They were not, Hayden. They were not.
You're Mephisto, Hayden.
Yes.
No comment on me being Mephisto.
You lied to us. We were so excited, and I was like, wait, it's over?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but Darcy did make a comment. She said, I put in for the bearded lady, but I guess my alabaster, there's no hiding my alabaster complexion, which she does have really, really white skin. So Vision wakes her up from her the Wanda's influence, and she and Vision decide to skip out on the circus, hijack a funnel cake truck, and head back into Westview. So while that's all going on, we also have Wanda dealing with the kids, and she doesn't want to do anything. Agnes just mysteriously then decides to show up and like, I'll take the kids. I'll give you a day to rest. Don't worry about it, honey. And she does say, because she does in her little talking head, she's like, because she's one, I love this line. She's like, she's one split end away from cutting her bangs, which I thought was such a great line. Because most women, when they're kind of depressed, can tend to, cut their bangs and try something new. I've done it myself. Trust me, cut so many bangs. So go ahead.
My wife just got her bangs cut? Does it? I didn't know.
I don't know. You can ask her. Usually, girls when they're like,
I didn't know that.
Bangs, they cut bangs. Yes, they get their fringe.
Looks like I gotta have a conversation.
It's a thing. And she does make a comment about asking Agnes or asking Wanda to look at a mole on her back, and Wanda's looking at her like, what? She's like, boundaries, I get it. And then she mentions the kids, maybe you can look at the mole on my back. So while that's all going on, Monica and Jimmy have met up with Major Goodner, who apparently, I guess, is the contact that she was referring to, the engineer. I don't really think she's the engineer. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but just the team that's still working against Hayward. So obviously there are sword agents who are loyal to Monica and her now deceased mom, Maria, and they will help Monica no matter what. So they've created this giant monster-sized vehicle that's supposed to be able to break through the barrier. So we have Monica getting all dressed up, getting ready, which is crazy that they were able to build this within, I don't think a lot of time has passed from the outside. So maybe 24 hours by the time she sent the specs to them, they built it and showed up. So very impressive, guys. Very impressive. So she's getting ready to go in. Go ahead.
Those people did not have a budget. Like they were like, yeah, we got this. Oh, you need this.
Even though the rest of Sword is not supposed to know about it, they still don't have a budget.
I just have to know they built that. That was really cool for a TV show, like to build a vehicle like that for just one specific scene. That's kind of a throwaway. Like you don't really see that in television.
Exactly. Oh, Nocturne said that Melanie doesn't count since she went to Salon to get it done. Yes. She definitely did not Kool-Aid Man that barrier. That's so true, Josh. So she's trying to go through the barrier. And of course, as she goes through it, pretty much is like hitting a wall, right? And they're like, oh, it's matching the density of the vehicle. It's not letting her through. And he's like, no, it's not matching the density. It's actually changing the molecular level of density. It's becoming like some old type of Chevy car. So Monica, not waiting to give up, decides, screw it. She gets out and she walks through the barrier. And this is I just watched this, guys, again for the second time right before I came here to talk to you guys. And I literally got chills at this scene again. As she's going through the barrier and different versions of her are apparating out of her. She's crossing and you hear different voices like Nick Fury's, her mother's. And then that line from Carol Danvers about her being one tough kid. And then she cuts through the barrier. Her eyes go in that like electric blue. And she sees all the energy throughout the whole entire area, like her energy manipulation, all her powers have finally come online. I mean, we knew it was hinted at when Darcy said her cells were rewritten on a molecular level, but still seeing this scene happen was probably one of the most gratifying things of the entire episode. I don't know about you, Omar.
I think sometimes it sucks being a comic book reader that kind of knows these things are going to happen, right? This kind of feels like when you're going into the movie theater and watching The Lord of the Rings with people that have never read the books, and you're like, where's Tom Bombadil? I know Tom Bombadil's going to show up, and then Tom Bombadil don't show up, and then you're like, damn, I wanted to see that dude, that hippie with his yellow boots. But no, that's what it kind of feels like, and then you're like, oh man, I know where this is going. That sucks, but it's still a lot of fun. And then when she comes through with her sword outfit, it's very reminiscent of her Captain Marvel colors. Very, very cool. It
is. Lady Fantastic said, yeah, I almost cried at the Spectrum reveal. Yes.
I thought it was a beautiful moment.
It was quite beautiful. They did such a good job of that.
And this.
Oh, agreed. Yes. Carly, you're right on that.
And then she had that superhero landing, which is so stereotypical. But thanks, Farhan. I do speak pretty today. So
he does. He is on point today.
Yeah.
So Wanda's back. So Monica and Major get through the barrier. Wanda's back at her house and things start glitching out of control. And she makes this comment. She's like, why is it all falling apart and why can't I fix it? And then the cameraman, remember in these docuseries until like, I think season 8 or 9 of The Office, the cameraman never answers back. And the cameraman does. He says, and he asks, maybe, is this what you think you deserve? And she goes, what? You're not supposed to talk. So things are glitching. Even the stork appears and disappears. The TV is turning different kinds of TVs. Everything's going, the chairs are going wacky. Everything's out of control. It's almost like it's too big for her to control. Maybe she's reached her limits. Yes, I know. Everything about her is fantastic, by the way.
Nope, that's not why I put that up there. You were talking about the specific scene where she's
It
breaking.
is. She's like, maybe it's a bad case of the Mondays, which is just adorable the way she delivers that line. But yeah, everything is out of control. She is not able to control anything. But then we get this really interesting commercial that kind of, cuts into all of this, and it's for Nexus, which is an antidepressant for what is it? For a way to anchor you back to reality or the reality of your choice. And side effects are seizing your destiny, maybe falling into a deeper depression. And Nexus, if you guys aren't familiar, is also the name of the one place, I think in Age of Ultron, where Ultron took the body of his what would become Vision and was going to upload himself into it. That's where that was located. So that's kind of the tie into the MCU, why they would use Nexus as the word for there.
And in the comic book version of these things, Nexus is like the nexus of all realities, is kind of where Howard the Duck and Man-Thing kind of come hang out. So it's like a connecting point to all these different places, like a middle. Look how professional she is. She has notes, everybody.
Sorry.
Give it up. That's a standing ovation. Okay. But that's the comic book version. And the one thing I told Amanda as I was watching it the first time, I always look for little things in the background because I'm like, these people are smart, and even if we're not gonna get this in the TV version or movie versions, there's gonna be Easter eggs thrown for a bunch of fanboys or fangirls from the comic books. So during the Nexus commercial, the very first thing I noticed was in the pharmacy. On the pharmacist's right-hand side, you see it's multivitamins, obviously, but the word multi stands out, which probably leads into multiverse or whatever. And that's what I mean when I said the meme of that's Mephisto. Every little thing from now on is that's the multiverse. That's gonna be the new meme going forward after this episode.
Yes.
For sure. Nexus got beat by John Cena. Are they wrestlers?
What?
Oh no, John Cena was. Sugar Man.
Yeah. So then we get the kids, and we get a scene of the kids at Agnes's house, right? And Billy earlier had mentioned to his mom he had all these. It was very loud in his head, and remember, Billy has those telekinetic powers very similar to Wanda's powers in a way. And so he's at Agatha's house, and he's like, "I like it here." He's petting Senor Scratchy, and he's, "I like it here because it's so quiet." He goes, "You're quiet, Agnes," and she kind of looks at him funny. And they ask if their moms. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so in this reality, in the comic books, Wiccan, Billy has the ability to shape reality, kind of like his mom.
Yeah.
In this, it looks like he's just got telekinesis, or he's getting headaches, because that's usually. By the way, this takes me back to X-Men. When the X-Men are when a mutant goes through changes in their body. One of the very first things during the Dark Phoenix saga was Kitty Pryde's first appearance. And Kitty Pryde was talking about just having these major headaches before her powers were first formed.
Yeah.
So that always brings me back, or that always reminds me of those days of when mutants, reach puberty, or whenever they reach a certain age, they get headaches, and then bam, they get powers. So I was thinking maybe he's got telekinesis, or maybe this is where his powers originally come from.
Yes.
But so as of right now on the TV show, all we know is that he can sense things, and he's got telekinesis, right? That's it.
Yes, that's all we know so far to this point. Yes. So then you have so they ask if Agatha if their mom's going to be okay, and she's like, "Oh, your mom's super mom," which is a play obviously on the fact that she's a superhero. And she does what am I supposed to tell these 10-year-old kids? Their mom's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? So then after that, we have Vision and Darcy still trying to make their way into Westview. Darcy apparently has told Vision exactly what happened in Infinity War, which I'm still kind of confused on how she would know all the details, but we're just going to assume that everyone in the MCU just knows everything that goes on, even if they weren't there for it. So it's all good. She tells him about how he died, and then Thanos had rewritten.
Sorry to interrupt really quick.
Yes, sorry, Lady Fantastic.
Okay, so he has telepathy. Sorry, you're right. Telekinesis is when you can move things with your mind. How dare I? I forgot.
Me too.
Jean Grey would be slapping me across the face right now several times, and I would be okay with that. As long as she's wearing her Black Queen outfit, I'm okay with that kind of treatment. All right, continue.
Yeah. So Darcy, tells him, he's like, but she killed me. He's like, but you asked her to kill you, which is true. And she said, but whatever your love is, like, I see it on the TV and it's real. Like, what you guys have is real and you love each other. And then she mentions how there's all these red lights in the middle of nowhere and why do they keep having these red lights? And then we get a really awesome talking head of Vision saying, I think my wife is trying to create impediments so that I cannot get back. And then lo and behold, right after he says that, they cut back to him and Darcy in the car. And as soon as the red light changes, she's about to go. But then all of a sudden, a construction crew shows up and he has this awesome face, which he looks at the camera, which is very much like what Jim from The Office would do, or Phil Dunphy, but also Jim from The Office. He just looks at the camera like, see, he's like, I am not amused, is what he says in the talking head. He is not happy about this at all. So he's trying to get to his wife. And eventually then they get stopped by a crossing guard and children in the middle of nowhere. And he's in the talking. He's like, you know what? No, why am I even talking to you? This is absurd. I have to get to my wife. So he decides to stop talking to this random camera crew. He phases through the funnel cake car and he leaves Darcy there in the middle of nowhere in Westview. So then Monica shows up at Wanda's house and her and Wanda have this confrontation where first she eventually shows Wanda that she has powers, which kind of catches Wanda off guard. And she keeps telling Wanda, we had nothing to do with Pietro, because Wanda thinks they have something to do with Pietro. She knows about the drones, obviously, and things like that. But she also had blamed them for Pietro because she knows it wasn't a real Pietro. And Mom said, we had nothing to do with Pietro at all. And she is trying to tell her, Hayward wants Vision. You need to protect him. He's going to make you the villain. Don't do this. You have to listen to me. And then all of a sudden, Agnes, sorry, slip of the tongue. Agnes, who was spying from her house, comes out and pretty much is telling Monica, leave her alone. Just leave her alone. And grabs Wanda and takes her into her house. And Wanda's telling Monica to stay away from her so she doesn't hurt her. So that happens. And then Wanda's in her house. She sits her down on the couch and she's in the kitchen. And Wanda notices the kids half-eaten sandwiches, their milk, and watching TV, but the kids aren't there. So she asks where the boys are. And Agnes said, oh, they're in the basement, probably playing. So Wanda decides to get up and starts going to the basement. And here's where things get a little eerie. And as she's walking down the basement, she sees these glowing tree roots into the basement. And as she goes down further into it, it's kind of like a maze. And then she starts into this inner sanctum with these demonic objects and things, and a very noticeable book, which there are some theories on what that book is. And she's looking at it. Huh?
It's the Book of the Dead.
The Book of the Dead.
I'm kidding. That's
what I have.
It's not
So then all of a sudden she hears Agnes's book and she goes, you didn't think you're the only magical girl here, did you? And then she introduces herself to her as Agatha Harkness. And then that's where you think it would end, but instead it ends with a really cool theme song, very Addams Family style, that says it was Agatha all along. So we see that everything that went wrong in her world. And so remember, she showed up after all this, right? So she showed up afterwards. This will explain why they couldn't find a profile on her when they were looking up all the residents. She showed up after the fact. So she did all the things like made the mix up at the magic show. She's the one who I guess possessed or created Pietro from the looks of it. And she even faked this whole thing where she faked that she was under Wanda's spell. Which I think Andrew Darville said that he had guessed that last week. So Andrew, you are right on that.
He said that she deserves an Oscar last week is what he said.
Yes, he did. Absolutely. And you're right. Yep. Very much so. And then she, at the end of her little theme song, she says that she killed Scratchy too. So we all know Scratchy was not Mephisto in some kind of shape, form. He was just a dog.
Sparky, sorry.
She killed Sparky, okay. Not Scratchy. She loves Scratchy.
I mean, she could have killed Scratchy too, but could be an animal killer.
Nope, she killed Sparky. So she killed poor Sparky. He is gone. And she did she has some type of mind control power, because when before the theme song popped up, she did use her. Now she has purple powers, so Wanda's red, Monica's blue, for everyone keeping tabs on whose powers are whose, and hers are purple. And she uses her little powers, and then you see it kind of infiltrate Wanda's face, kind of like how Wanda's do whenever she would infiltrate people's minds like she did in Age of Ultron. So she could be controlling Wanda to a certain extent, but you even see she's behind the cameras. She's behind everything. So it was Agatha all along. And that's where the episode ends. But then we get a mid-credit scene. Yes! And apparently Pietro is still alive. Monica decides to go snooping around Agnes's house, looks towards the outside door, and he goes, "Snoopers go to snoop." And then she turns around, and that's where it ends. So we don't know what's gonna happen.
We don't know. They killed Sparky. That's right.
I know, right? We knew he really died, but I was hoping he really died, that it wasn't just something.
So Comic Kate is saying that part I totally goofed on. She had me fooled. That was a good twist, in my honest opinion.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, yeah, we kind of saw it coming, but this show could literally go anywhere, and it could be different from the comic books. Agatha Harkness could have been a red herring, and honestly, still could be a red herring.
Yeah,
she could be created by Wanda. We don't know where the next 2 episodes are going to go, and that's where our theories
kind of play into a part.
Yeah, so we can talk about that, but do you want to talk about Easter eggs first, like some of the things we found?
Yeah, because there's some interesting stuff. She was Franklin Richards' nanny. Now Hayden had asked, was Norm talking about Agatha when he freaked out about her, and said, no, I still think they're talking about Wanda because she showed up after. So Wanda had already created her universe. Because remember, even because Monica and Darcy have both been their minds have both been infiltrated by Wanda. So they know it's her presence. So it's not a secret that it's her presence. But Agatha's doing other things to mess up whatever is going on in Wanda's little universe she created for herself. So from what it means. But yeah, there's a ton of Easter eggs in here. Go ahead. Well, you've obviously, we talked about Nexus already, the drug. You talked about the multiverse.
The kids' clothes again. Billy and Tommy, like
with the colors.
Green with for speed, and then those colors for Wiccan. Very, very cool. Her outfit, Monica Rambeau.
Yeah.
And I how do I put it? She is very well built. She was put properly together. I will just say that about her. When she walked into that house, I was like, "Oh,
yep,
okay,
she got it made." Let's just,
look at that wagon she is dragging. Whoa,
it's so cool.
Let's see what else. Let me see. There was the sugar snaps. I think is what it was called.
Yeah, sugar snaps.
It's a little bit of a stretch with maybe,
but it's something that's there.
There are people in the chat that were talking about the Phoenix. I didn't see a Phoenix
circus. Yeah, I think they said the Phoenix circus. So that's obviously it's an Easter egg for the Phoenix in general, basically. So, but I think the biggest one for me, Easter egg, but then which kind of segues into theories, is the I had a picture of this.
Leo, we'll get to your Q&A, buddy. Just wait it out. What are you looking for?
It is the book that we see sitting
Darkhold.
on. Yes. So everyone's saying it's Darkhold, right? So for those,
when you're talking about magical books in the Marvel comic book universe, Darkhold's the very first thing. Oh wait, Maya. I'm sorry. Hold on. Happy birthday!
You found it.
I found it. Oh, it's so crappy. I'm so sorry, Maya. That's all I got.
I gave her special statement.
Whenever you're talking about those kind of books in the Marvel universe, you're talking about the Darkhold, and then we know that Blade is coming, so it could tie into Blade and the Night Stalkers and the Rise of the Midnight Suns and Ghost Rider, if they ever want to bring him back in.
Well, see, the interesting thing is Darkhold has actually already been a part of the MCU on television. So the Darkhold was a major plot point in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Ghost Rider actually took it to the dark dimension or to another dimension because the Ghost Rider in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show. Obviously, those tied into the MCU, but how much the MCU tied into them is debatable. Then it also showed up on Runaways in their final season. And they used it to help bring back Cloak and Dagger, and also Morgan Le Fay was the big bad in that, and they used it.
Oh, I stopped watching that show. Yeah, I didn't even finish season 1, so I don't.
Reading up on it, but they used it to send her to the dark dimension, because that's where the one girl had gotten her powers from. Greg's saying it's not the Darkhold. Kevin hated S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, another theory that I had read is the Necronomicon, the Necronomicon, which
from
is
Ash.
From
Ash.
Yeah, they said it's
Evil Dead.
I've never seen Ash, but it's more.
You've never seen the Evil Dead movies?
Mm-mm.
None of them. Oh, dude, nope. March coming, man. That March
I know,
coming.
Matt. March coming. March coming.
All right.
But because that's more, I guess, from what I've read, is more tied into Agatha and Wanda's storylines simultaneously. So maybe it's the Necro, because they can make it one of those books, and they can make it do whatever they need it to do within the realm of the MCU.
Or it could just be a book, and none of the creators behind this show have ever read a comic and go, what?
But they all have, because Kevin Feige is too good of a comic nerd to not have it mean something. And I think
witch doesn't have a spell book
too, huh?
Okay, I was gonna say, what witch doesn't have a spell book, right? Good like it makes sense to give her. And if they don't know, now they can be like, oh, according to the fans, there's a Darkhold in the Marvel comic universe, the Necronomicon.
Pretty much, I probably butchered the name of that.
One day, Hayden. One day.
So it could be. Oh, what did DeJuan Patterson Power said? It could still be the Darkhold, but now on an official Kevin Feige production. You're right, because Kevin Feige could still take, just like we're probably gonna get Ghost Rider, but on an official Kevin Feige production. So
even the Charm Witches have a spell book.
They do. Even Willow has a spell book. I mean,
Willow's not a witch. He's a wizard.
Not that Willow. I was talking about Buffy's Willow.
Oh, whoops. I thought you were talking about Willow.
Wow,
good.
You're my dad.
Point to the fake. Never mind. I love that movie. Where were we?
Talking about the Darkhold and Necrom. Yeah, because I mean, with these books, so we know the Darkhold was created by the Elder God, which I'm also going to mispronounce.
Mephisto?
I don't know how to.
Who is it?
It's Chthon. Can you pronounce that? Because I'm not going to try.
CHT. What is it?
Chthon. So in the comics, that's the god that is the one who created this book of spells, which, having spells about desire, bringing about your desires and things are all part of the book. So obviously that plays a part into Wanda's whole thing. But it could be using the book to
say it.
Chthon? Chthon. Okay, thank you, Great Garlu. It is Chthon. The Elder God Chthon.
Mephisto.
Yeah, don't ask me.
That's what the guy from He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. Mephisto. All right.
Chthon. So yeah, it's Chthon. So
okay.
Maybe she needs Wanda's powers, or she needs this to resurrect him, because so maybe it is just a spell book, like Omar said, or maybe it actually is a important spell book that will eventually. What?
We're to the point in this show where they're hiding the Grim Reaper's helmet. There's little Easter eggs everywhere. We know there are fans of comics, obviously, that are running this show. Yeah. So there's going to be little things like that. Of course, it's going to be the Darkhold or something important. It's the House of M omnibus.
That's
not coming.
HOM stuff. Yeah.
HOM. Oh, congratulations, Glenn. That's good, man. I'm glad you got your book. So let me see. Let me look. I think that's all the Easter eggs I had. I'll look through the pictures while you keep. Did you have any Easter eggs you were going to mention?
No,
besides
that's
Modern Family.
That's pretty much the main stuff that I had picked up on.
Okay. Trying to find the pictures. So yeah, her power's pretty cool. Now, something we haven't talked about, but I guess we can talk about now.
Is her powers?
Does this make her a mutant, or is she like the Fantastic Four? Cosmic rays affected our bodies, and now we have powers. Or was she born this way, and coming into this world changed up her DNA, where now she has mutant powers?
I think it's more the Fantastic Four line, because when they talked about rewriting her cells were rewritten by the magic. So the magic is what has created the powers. Just like, because in the MCU, Wanda's powers were created by the Mind Stone. The Captain Marvel's power is created by the Tesseract. Peter's power is created by radiation. I mean, it doesn't seem like anyone's inherently born with the powers. There's some type of magic or scientific magic that is creating it at a molecular level, changing them at a molecular level. So I'm not. It could create a new case of mutants, given if they're born from these superpowered people or these people whose cells were changed, like the people of Westview, right? Would that be ground zero then for the future? Because someone had mentioned Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris.
Oh, is Kamala Harris getting her own show? That's cool. Wow. Vice President of the United States and now in the MCU. Very cool.
Kamala Khan. And given that she's, in New York, New Jersey, it's not a far stretch that, this is in Jersey, that, she could have been affected by this barrier, and it could rewrite her cells on a molecular level, giving her powers, for example.
You don't know. I mean, we don't know so far about Kamala.
We don't know much about.
Like, we don't know if they're gonna go the Inhumans route and then bring in the Inhumans, because they tried that. Like, that was bad.
Yeah, they might try the Inhumans again.
Go trying to make the Inhumans happen, Marvel. Give it a break. Yes, breaking news from Amanda. Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, or normal woman, got bitten by a radioactive vice president, and now she is a superhero in the MCU. Kamala Khan does whatever Kamala Khan can. How do we know Monica didn't have some level of power beforehand, and this has just activated them? I don't think random sword agents or whatever, right? Because she is the very first one that went through, so she is special, right?
That she spent a long time in there too.
Well, that came from the, because we saw the vehicle itself could not go through. And I assume other agents have tried to go through, and it just didn't work. But the rover didn't go through, and if other agents come through, then what made her so special? I really don't like these Mind Stone. Like, I would be okay with a retcon of, the Mind Stone just activated her hidden mutant powers and Pietro's mutant powers, and that would be okay with a retcon like that. Yeah. That would be cool. Only disappointment was the aerospace engineer.
Yeah.
Come on, Amanda. Where was your boy?
Sewer keeper, beekeeper guy. We still know where he is, though, because they never showed him return.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Here is Amanda's engineer.
Oh my God! How did it work out this way that he would be?
Yeah. You're trying to make Jim Halpert happen in the MCU so bad that.
I mean, I'm still thinking that maybe Major Goodner was not necessarily the aerospace engineer she was referring to, but just happened to be the sword agents that she had that were called upon to help her. Like she may have been part of the project, but maybe the aerospace engineer that actually designed it, like from the specs, is just back at Sword doing their thing. I'm still going with that.
Okay. Yeah. You're welcome to that. We got 2 episodes left for Jim Halpert to appear. Omar, remember Jimmy Woo said the barrier didn't want him to come in, and it grabbed Monica. You're right. So I'm thinking maybe there's a calling. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. These next 2 episodes. But then
there's the whole idea of her being exposed to Captain Marvel too early on. So what if Captain Marvel's? Because then people are like, well, what if Captain Marvel's exposure gave Maria cancer? Well, what if it somehow activated something in Monica?
Right. My theory is that television is mind control. That's not really a theory, Leo. That's been proven. Television is mind control.
It is.
Ever since it was created. That's why it's called, what is it? The idiot box?
Idiot box.
So, but you're good. At this moment, we got 130 people watching.
Yes.
Please don't forget to hit that like button. This is a lot of fun, and we love doing this, and we love hearing everybody's theories as to what they have. Darcy got the power of being beautiful.
She is. Yeah, Omar's got a good gift for that.
I got. Yes, sir. Look at those eyes. Acting. She's not even looking at anything. She's looking at a wall.
She's
acting. She's agreeing. She is agreeing with a wall. That's how good of an actress she is. Acting. 100 likes and Omar reveals a new omnibus. Now I'm gonna need a little more than that.
We
We go a little super chat, maybe. Maybe I can hint at something.
$100.
No. I'm like, I can't do that. I signed an NDA. I can't do that. Don't make please don't super chat. I mean, unless
don't super chat that. Omar's not gonna do it, guys. No, don't do that.
Let's see. It's probably a prequel, because Kamala and Monica are in it. Kamala is in Captain Marvel too? Is that a thing that we know? I don't know.
So, yeah.
Omar, please tell me the reason Darcy was tied up in lock and chain is foreshadowing BDMS with her. BDSM. How dare I? BDMS.
In Disney's MCU.
Because I watched that right away. I mean, I'd watch a show with Darcy trying to break out of chains every episode. I'd be okay with that. But maybe that's just me. She fought the barrier when she came in the second time, so perhaps this is actually her powers waking up because of her. See, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I was leaning towards. Maybe her powers awaken inside of her. So it would be really cool.
But why would they make it so heavy on her molecular cells changing?
Well, because the mutant DNA is different than the human DNA.
So it's just a matter of it's changing and letting it be activated.
Yeah, because we don't know how mutants are going to come into the MCU.
We don't know.
This could be a really... I mean, to be fair, mutants are really a boring... There's no origin story to mutants, right? You're born that way. And if you think about it, that's why Stan Lee created X-Men, because he was tired of coming up with origin stories. So if you think about it, it's really boring. So this would be a boring yet kind of unique way that, Wanda's power can awaken these mutants, or these people that have these that were born with these abilities, and then she can rewire them. And then because you see the sphere getting bigger, right? And I'm thinking at one point maybe the sphere goes all around the globe. Bam, Mo mutants, baby. What I said 2 years ago when we first found out about this, Mo mutants.
Not this season, though. I gotta not this season.
Amanda, I don't know where this is going.
If you think they're gonna introduce mutants at the end with 2 episodes left, maybe next season, if we're doing which I'm assuming we're gonna have a second season, there's just not gonna be like.
You think there's gonna be a season? I think this is literally like a movie that's leading up to Spider-Man that will lead up to.
I don't know. I think we could have more than one season because it's gonna tie in. I mean, what's gonna happen? They just run out of. They're just gonna have to keep coming up with one season story arcs for different characters, I guess, and put them on Disney Plus.
I just don't see the need for another season after this. If Wanda goes bad, which she very well could, because I mean, this was such a unique experience. You can't do it again.
Well, not in this way.
It would be just your run of the mill show. This was such a unique experience for a television show. This was so unique, and I mean, I'm sure even the people that were hating it at first are now like, oh, okay, I get it.
Oh yeah, by now they're eating their words. Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're eating their words. Some people have a lot of pride and are like, nope, I stand by my belief. It still sucks. They're like one shots, but in television shows versions, and it costs a lot of money too. But I don't know. I mean, we don't know where this is going, so it could lead into a second season,
or it could lead into just the movies, and then maybe you'll get an X-Men series.
Oh my god!
A movie, I don't know, but much later on down the road, we got a lot of stuff to unpack in this phase right now. Phase 4. That's what we're in. Phase 4.
I would really.
Yeah, we're in phase 4, right?
Yeah. Wait, you're asking me? I ask you. You're my movie person.
This is phase 4. Phase 3 was Endgame. Ended phase 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
Based on the box sets.
Yes. Or Spider-Man officially ended phase 3. Yes.
I'd be all over a Scarlet Witch redemption arc, kind of like the Scarlet Witch story by James Robinson. Like she does.
Her redemption arc is going to be found in the Doctor Strange movie because she's going to be kind of like she's going to be a significant role in Doctor Strange.
That's going to be interesting to see where.
Yeah, so it's not just going to be like him by him. She's not just going to show up for like 5 minutes. I think she's in it significantly.
As long as they call it Scarlet Witch, I would be okay.
They haven't called her yet. They might. They still might because they have to differentiate all these women and their damn powers.
So Jesse is saying that Far From Home ended phase 3. Phase 3.
This is phase 4 now. We're in phase 4.
And Jesse, I'm with you, man. I don't think I would have watched. I mean, I would have because Amanda and I review these things, so of course I would have.
And it's Marvel. I would watch anything.
But I would have been just as excited as I would be for Ant-Man 2 or Black Widow. But I'm really excited for Black Widow because of those trailers and because we still don't know when the hell it's coming. The X-Men series that Amanda was talking about earlier kind of reminded me of what I wish they had done with something like New Mutants. Because New Mutants, when we go, by the way, we reviewed New Mutants last year sometime.
Yeah, August.
Wow, okay, look at that. Memory. We were talking about how it made a really good pilot. Like it would have been a really fun series to watch, especially with younger kids. X-Men, you can make those into movies, but as far as like New Mutants or Generation X or this younger generation, kind of like what they did with Legion and what was the other show that they did? The Gifted.
Yeah,
kind of like that. You can make those into televisions.
Tim said, if Wanda plays a bigger role in Strange 2, what does it say about Vision's future? Well, so given a lot of things that have been happening, right? A lot of things have been said in the last couple episodes, which leads me to believe that Vision's not making it out of this series alive. In the Halloween episode, after they found Sparky had died, not the Halloween episode, the episode before that, when Sparky had died. And she grabbed the kids and said, do not age up. And she had that wonderful speech about dealing with your grief, right? And then this episode, when Monica confronts Wanda and she tells her, I've been there, I've lost someone too, but I can wallow in my grief, but it's my truth. This is my truth. And I have to own up to it. So this could be like Paul Bettany's Vision going out with a bang, but this all could culminate with Wanda having to actually deal with the grief of losing Vision and letting him go, because like we know, he can't leave the hex. So if the hex was to go down, he would essentially die because he's still part of the hex in a major way for some reason.
Okay.
So what's his name's trying to bring him back online. So there's always that. He could still be stolen by Hayward, and we could still see him future down the road being turned evil by Sword. Who knows?
I think if Paul Bettany is tired of putting on red makeup,
it looks good on him.
Because you get older and you're like, I'm kind of done with that. Then they could Vision is a character they could easily replace with another Vision 2.0, right? Have it played by a different actor, and Vision 1.0, Paul Bettany, Jarvis's voice could go away, kind of like they got rid of Robert Downey Jr. They could go away, and then we could still have a Vision that could join the Young Avengers if that's still coming. So I mean, it's a lot of things they could do. So Vision Quest, this is kind of a little bit like Vision Quest, because Maya and Hip Hop Happens. I mean, immediately when the stone was pulled out of him, he turned white. I was like, oh, that's our little Easter egg for White Vision, for John Byrne's White Vision. So there it is. Oh, Villain Wave, Invincible figures from the cartoon. I'm excited about Invincible, man. Or Paul could just do the voice. I thought about that too. Paul could do the voice of a Vision 2.0. He doesn't have to. I mean, they could just spend a little money on CG. That's it.
Yeah. This is an interesting note that Greg Garley said, I think Sword is making Sentinels, which would be
taking that technology.
Also makes sense given what they want to do. What they talked about creating sentient weapons. So.
Mm-hmm. There was already a rabbit when the kids were there with Agnes.
Oh, someone had said, what was it? Greg Murdoch had said the kids are the cockroach and the rabbit. Yeah. So that's what their ultimate power is pointing out, is that the kid they were holding Scratchy, or Scratchy was hanging out with them when they were talking about, no, Billy was holding the rabbit, right? Yeah. When they were talking to Agnes and they were sitting there watching TV with her. So, and that's another thing we haven't really talked about. Where are the kids? Omar, where do you think the kids are? I've heard some, I think Hayden said there's.
How are you going to ask me and then start saying, I heard a rumor that.
Well, no, Hayden had given some theories, but before I say what those theories are, I want to ask you, where do you think those kids are? Omar, where do you think they've been hiding? Now that she's at the house, where are they? Are they really in the basement? And where are they in the basement? Are they in the book?
They're in the they're inside of the Master Pandemonium's arms. That's where they are. I don't know if they're not real. Then they can easily explain that. Where was Pietro hiding the entire time if he wasn't real? If he was created by Agatha Harkness, we don't know. Now, the important question though is, do you think this is another red herring, like we're being thrown off that Agatha Harkness is really behind it, or could there be something else? Because
Like
we
she's
got 2
working
episodes
for
left.
someone?
Or it could just be all Wanda. Like maybe she needs to create a conflict. Maybe she needs to keep it going.
That Agatha is not even real?
Not necessarily real. She could be real like everybody else in the town, but maybe it's
She
'cause
created her powers for her to be.
maybe like what's her name? Monica. So I don't know. I think it would be. I just really like the idea of a superhero like this snapping and then becoming a villain and having to go through the journey of like, how do you get her back?
She
So
can still become a villain working with Agatha.
she could.
Because it's
So
clear that Agatha wants her away from other people like Monica, who could influence her and get her to take everything down. So it's clear that Agatha wants all this kept up for a reason. So I think that I think Agatha is real, but she may either be working for someone else, or maybe she has some ulterior motives she needs Wanda's powers for.
oh, do you think that she could be working for
Mephisto? maybe it's the Chthon guy. Maybe she wants that. Maybe it really is Chthon and she wants his elder god.
By the way, I gotta show this meme that Ipsy also sent me.
It is the same energy.
Golly, Wanda, calm down, man. I'm just trying to help. I'm just trying to help.
Back to the kids for a quick second. So the theory that Hayden had mentioned, and
Bye,
I think
Leo.
a lot of people, hey, bye, Leo. A lot of people in the chat have been mentioning is that they think Agatha ate the kids. So there's a theory that the kids never really existed, that they're illusions that were created, or that Agatha ate the kids and absorbed their powers.
That's so dark. She did say that she bit a kid, right?
Like, she did. That's where everyone's getting it, because she said, "Well, I did bite a kid once," or something like that when she said, "I don't bite," and then she in the talking head. So whether or not that's just her being cheeky, because she tends to be cheeky. Ralph could be. Could not be there, Joe. You're right. Ralph could be Mephisto or Chthon. Chthon. Which is what I always thought. Ralph, if it was going to be Mephisto, it's Ralph. That's why we never heard from him. And she's working for him. The bunny ate them. Cordell Frank, that's hard too.
Do you know how much respect I would have for both Disney and the show if Agatha actually ate those kids and then Wanda just freaking... First of all, that is dark as shit, and I love it. I don't know if they're gonna go quite that route. I don't think
they'll go that route. Maybe not eat them, but maybe she absorbed their powers in a way that's not so creepy as eating them, or she's hiding them, or they didn't really ever exist. Because what is there in the comics where if Wanda wasn't around, the kids weren't around, or something like that?
It depends on the writer, honestly.
Depends on the writer. Like, that was the whole idea behind it.
So John Byrne had this whole story arc where he kind of threw in all these ideas that Wanda was kind of crazy. And he's actually the very first one that touched upon that. And then other writers went on with that, like Bendis did with Avengers Disassembled. And yes, the kid, that's what made her snap and said, created House of M, no more mutants. And so we'll see. There's something really... this is something that hasn't been touched upon yet. Who is the fugitive the FBI was after?
It's like they haven't met. It hasn't been brought up since episode 3. Episode 3. Sorry. Since that episode. Right? Episode 3 is when we discovered Jimmy Woo and everything. Yeah. Since that episode, we have not heard a peep about this fugitive.
Episode 4.
Maybe it's Pietro. Maybe he's the guy, the fugitive. Because that kid looks like he could be a fugitive.
Ooh, look at this. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hip Hop Happens. What if Wanda stole the spell book from Shangri-La? So if she did, that has ties from, or not Wanda, but maybe Agatha. I don't know. Maybe that has ties to Doctor Strange.
Again, yes. Which I think everything here, regardless, is going to have ties to Doctor Strange.
No, this is Disney. No eating children here. That's what I'm thinking. I think it's a little dark for Disney to do that. If they could totally hint at it, like having her burp and go oops in her really cutesy way.
Because she's adorable, but she hasn't done that yet. So,
yeah,
the kids might be somewhere still. Let's not give hopes about that.
It is very convoluted, but honestly, it's also one that he never got to finish, like the Darker Than Scarlet storyline in West Coast Avengers. So ultimately, the editors came in and said, "Nah, let's do this instead." And John Byrne never really got to finish that. But other writers played up on that, including Bendis with the Avengers Disassembled. I think someone big, Pietro, said something about Wanda in Shangri-La last week. He did? Amanda?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that either.
I'd have to go back and maybe he did. I think he did.
She didn't fake the pregnancy, but her kids were created falsely, like magically. I mean,
well, yes, I agree with that.
That was all a retcon. So they grew at an alarming rate, and in the show, yes.
Yeah,
so technically, they're only a few days old. True. So it's okay to eat a few days old kids.
So they could be born out of her own magic. So, and maybe from there, Agnes did want them.
We did get a view of Dottie. Where
we did.
When it was the end credits.
Yes. Well, we saw Dottie in episode 4 when was it 4 she gave birth?
Yes.
Because when everything was going haywire and she had come in asking her husband, "How did this look on me?" And then the lights came out and he goes, "Oh, thank God." So he didn't have to give her an answer.
Didn't crazy Wanda kill Agatha? Yeah, she did. I was not a big fan of that story arc.
I would like to see Agatha perhaps have some type of redemption arc at some point.
I like her to come back. She's too good of a character.
The two of that, well, yeah, Catherine Hahn, obviously she's a movie star herself, so she could be in movies. But in addition to that, in the comics, the two of them have a mentor-mentee relationship. So it would be nice to, unless they're giving the mentor relationship to Doctor Strange. So
they did.
They already got one sorcerer. They don't need that many in there.
Or Agatha could play the role of Bova, in the person that raised her and has secrets about her real origin, and then stay with me. Then they can tie that in and say, "Oh yeah, you know what? Your powers, they've always been a power to you. Like it's been a part of you, you and your brother, because you're both mutants. Because your real father's this guy named Magneto." And I mean, they could do that route. They don't have to show Magneto.
In MCU, in order for mutants' powers to come alive, if you will, they have to be sparked by something magical or something, of some kind. Like
it's
of some sort.
It's silly, but just as silly as a Mind Stone giving you powers. I mean, if I can believe a Mind Stone can give me powers,
there'd be a lot of mutants having to get near some MacGuffins to get that.
No, dude, remember, Wanda's her hex is expanding. If she goes crazy and expands the globe, then there's your mutants.
Then you get we'll see how far she expands it.
Lord Omar, will Vision be dead or alive at the end? Amanda thinks dead. I kind of tend to agree with her. I think Paul Bettany's done. He could do the voice. Maybe there'll be a Vision 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Vision isn't alive. No. My boat is dead, at least in his form.
Yes.
What is life?
Yeah, it's a good question. Hip Hop Happens. What is life?
42.
It is my age. Of all life.
Redeeming a dog killer, tough move, but it was off screen.
So we didn't know. She just said she killed him.
She could be lying, and then she's playing all of us. Ultimate power. Man, I don't want that. Wait, what don't you want, Jesse? Mutants,
I don't know.
Or Agatha Christie. I mean, Agatha Hart. Agatha Christie. Thanks for all the fish. Somebody's read Hitchhikers. Yes. My man. Okay, Amazing Amanda. Who is Monica's smart friend? I got you.
The Major?
I got you. Amanda seems to think it's Jim Halpert, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic.
It'll be one of the lost fan casts I'll never get. It's fine. I've come to accept that Marvel just won't do it. It's okay.
You know who I really like? The Sound of, what is it? The Sound of Metal. Have you seen that movie? The guy that plays the deaf musician? Yes. He's up for an Oscar. That movie's awesome, and that dude would make a killer Mr. Fantastic. But I don't know if they'll do that. I still think Wanda is going to destroy magic at the end, and Doctor Strange will have to restore it. Now, that's a cool theory. I like that.
Said Jason Aaron, magic getting destroyed. I like that.
They've already confirmed that the Mind Stone only activated Wanda's power.
Surprise. I have powers now, guys. So
it was a tie-in book called The Wakanda File. So okay, this is Maya. I didn't even know this was you. That's adorable. are those comics in canon, right? Because sometimes comic
Yes.
books, they just sell you on something and they're not really canon, right? Like, did Feige say that all comic books, like the prequels and all that stuff, the things that happen in between the scenes, are they canon? Kind of like Star Wars, right? Everything that you read in Star Wars, Jason Aaron, Marvel Universe is all canon. So I'm curious if those comics are canon, then they can do so much more of an expansion. Let's see. I think Doctor Strange will show up at the end of the season. That's a pretty good guess considering this is where it's all going. Amanda, it's Mephisto. No, she is Mephisto, not Mephisto.
I said his name in 5 minutes. It'll sound.
John Krasinski as Reed Richards and
That's
Emily
my
Blunt
goal.
as Susan.
It's never
Oh my
gonna happen,
gosh.
guys. But a girl can dream.
Here's what's gonna happen just to make Amanda mad. They're gonna cast Emily Blunt as Invisible Woman and cast, I don't know, who do you hate? No,
There's
you
a
like
lot of actresses I'm not fans of, so you could just say
Kevin Spacey as Mr. Fantastic.
they wouldn't do that because Disney won't do that.
Yeah, you're right. They won't. Episode 9 recap and review. Omar should dress up as Wanda.
Oh my God. I thought, for reals though, my husband and I are going to be Wandavision for Halloween. We're very excited about it.
Did you say for reals? Like reals talk?
Yes,
for reals?
For reals
Okay.
talk. I'm doing her like comic costume. I'm going all crazy.
For real, Amanda, there's no Halloween this year. It's been canceled.
There was Halloween last year. I still did it during the quarantine. We just wore masks everywhere and kept our distance. It was great. I didn't have to interact with
I'm at parties.
Oh, so I walk around and dressed up. You know that. You were there for this.
Yeah, but
I dressed up Black Widow.
She's got leggings. Like, you gotta wear jeans. You could be like Mom Wanda and Vision.
I'm gonna be Wanda from this episode and walk around in a flannel.
There you go. And everybody's gonna be like,
with my
man,
hair all crazy.
Let's see. Matt is saying overall, I've been very happy with Marvel's casting, DC's ups and downs. I think DC did some things right, and others. I still Don Cheadle, man. Never gonna let that go.
I guess they're all not winners for Omar there, Matt.
They're not all winners. I could talk about my Avengers that had to grow on me. Because at first I was like, I don't know about this guy. And is Philip here? Because I don't know about that Paul Rudd guy too. Amanda, you plan Halloween costume? She does. She plans a lot ahead. She should. I've always told her she should be an event planner. Danny DeVito is Wolverine.
An event planner.
All right. Yes, Danny DeVito, who's 74 years old, will start.
Him in the second Jumanji movie.
Have you seen him in Always Sunny when he's naked and coming out of that couch as the couch is giving birth to him? I love that movie. Look at that. He wasn't even here and I summoned him.
There he is. I
summoned him.
Nocturne starting the hashtag leave Don Cheadle alone, Omar.
I don't like Don Cheadle. I love him as an actor. Just don't like him as War Machine.
Oh gosh.
Gotta go, Sir Omar. See you, buddy.
Hour already, guys. So. But let's do one question. Omar hates Don Cheadle. One more thing we'll talk about, and then we'll wrap up. Luis has asked, why do you think Agatha has it out for Wanda? Why did she say to Wanda, don't you think you deserve this?
What did she do?
This.
What did she do, Amanda?
Who?
Wanda.
To Agatha?
Yeah, you said, don't you think you deserve this?
Yeah, that's what she said. That's a good question.
What did she do then?
I don't know.
She took her children? Those are Agatha's children that she ate?
Oh my gosh, no.
Come on, this is all theories.
I mean, could it be that she could be creating, when she says, don't you think you deserve this? She could be creating a crisis of consciousness, whatever, in Wanda, because she's dealing with, because at the end of the day, she did take over all these people's minds, right? We know it's Wanda, and she could be playing with her. It could be her playing with her. Why is she playing with her? That's the better question. Why did she come in, create havoc in Wanda's perfect little world?
That's what I said. She stole her man. That's what it always
Vision? It's Vision, Ralph.
Vision is Ralph, and he's been two-timing Wanda while he was dead.
That's weird.
That's why Wanda's snapping. She's like, how could you? Have you seen me dressed as this? But it is Catherine Hahn. Anyway, my Paul Rudd senses were tingling.
That's right. He's like, ooh, I think I should get online.
Whoa, Kyle the Mighty saying, I used to work somewhere where
Ooh.
Terrence Howard was a regular, and he was arrogant and obnoxious.
This
So
is
I
why
like
I'm
Cheeto
not
for that reason alone. Yeah, Cheeto's a nice guy. I just think
Yeah.
Howard, Terrence Howard looked more the part. I like this casting. I
Oh,
maintain
sorry.
that.
Hayden said that I should make you do reviews of his The War Machine show, which I will, Hayden. I will make Omar review it.
I forgot he's getting it's the Iron Man Armor Wars, right?
Yeah,
Isn't that what
Armor
it's going to
Wars.
be called?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dude, in
Sorry.
1995, when I worked at Blockbuster, my coworkers would be at Waffle House after midnight casting our X-Men movie. That was life, man. That was a different time.
Such a different time.
I used to do that as well. Michael Biehn was always my Cyclops, by the way, from 1987 all the way until 2000. I was like, Michael Biehn has to play Cyclops. Spacey is Mr. Fantastic, directed by Joss Whedon. Watch out, kids.
Okay, and on that note, I think it's time for us to wrap up our recap review of WandaVision episode 7.
Yes, wrap up.
So, we will be back on next week to earlier though next week, right, Omar? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah. So next week I'm gonna be doing Map My Ex, and then every other time after that, so starting in March, we will go back to our regular 8:00 time schedule on our reviews here on Friday. So the next week we'll be doing this probably at 7:00. So, and then to wrap up the finale, we'll be doing it back at 8, and it'll be a double-sized episode because I'm sure there's a lot to talk about during that time.
So much to talk about.
Yeah. So, Amanda.
Yes, and then don't forget, we'll be back on Wednesday, of course, to wrap up our Nerds and Romance Month. Omar has to review To All the Boys I've Loved Before on Netflix. So if any of you haven't seen it, go ahead and watch it.
We can watch it.
I love you all to join in with Omar in the pain of having to see the movie. And then we'll also talk about some of our favorite sci-fi fantasy couples, and some of the ones that made the shows and movies even worse. So we'll discuss some of those. So come with your comments ready for that as well. And the latest TV and entertainment news.
Carly's asking, is he watching? Look, I'm not watching the trilogy. She doesn't get that out of me, okay? She's not paying me.
Yeah,
she gets the first one.
I would love for him to watch. I like the last one the most. I like the last one. I didn't like the second one as much as I liked
okay, don't push it, Panda. Hey Omar, how's full-time NMC? It's going great, man. I'm just learning to do a little more time management, so I can not say things that I'm going to be doing, and so it's a lot of that. And we're going to be mapping next Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a 4th member joining us, and I'm very excited about that. We're mapping New Mutants Omnibus Volumes 2, 3, and 4. We're going to have some fun with that, not just Volume 2. Peter wants to do all of them. I'm not gonna do Twilight.
I don't even like Twilight, Hayden, so I'm not making fun.
Nobody likes that Twilight.
No,
he's watching the first one. Yes, just the first one, Carly.
Just the first one. Just this first hauler, but all the boys I've loved before. Since I talk about it so much to Omar, we're gonna have to make him watch it now. All right. Yep. So on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and remember to follow us on all of our social media channels at @NearMintCon. Remember to check us out on Patreon if you want to support this content and make sure that Omar can keep creating all this great near mint condition content. We also have a Redbubble, so if you want some great near mint condition gear, make sure to head over to our Redbubble and you can get some of that cool gear as well. And last but not least, guys, if it's classy and cool, it must be near mint. Have a good night. We'll see you all next week. Stay safe.
Bye, everybody. Don't forget to hit like on